She is a comic book creator, continuing the theme of nerddom here on Phoenix Tonight. It's Zoe Sugg. Zoe Sugg is here. Hey, I'm saying your name right?
Yeah,
okay.
Zoe Sugg.
Whew,
Sounds gross and Scottish Highlander. Sugg.
Sugg, is it Irish? Sugg?
Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah. It's we were Scottish earls somewhere back there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of Irish in me, if you
can't
tell.
know, it's something clued me in, actually.
Yeah, a lot of people call me the Ginger Wolverine. I think that's because of my ageless handsomeness and my regenerative abilities.
Oh, really?
I'm 85 years old.
Can I cut you and see what that? No, I can't.
I think there's a little bit of metal poisoning going on, or I have some sort of emotional vulnerability around young women or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Very much like Logan. See what I'm doing?
It's your kryptonite.
Absolutely.
Same universe,
right? Make you my ailing Professor X? And maybe after the show, I'll carry you up some stairs or something.
My hair's going that way.
So you create your own comics.
I do.
And are you into these superheroes at all, or?
Yeah. I read quite a bit. Superman, I'm a little weaker on. I have like 2 that I love, and then the rest I'm sort of like, Superman's cool.
What are the 2 that you love? You mean
Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
Oh, Superman's story, yes.
Yeah.
See those women voices out there saying, wow, that's great.
I loved All-Star Superman.
I did too,
yeah, that one, and then Max Landis' American Alien, which just came out last year, so no one's heard of it.
Very cool.
But
I like the Superman story involving the Elite. Did you ever read that one by Joe Kelly, I believe?
No.
Oh, that's a good story. You should read it. The Elite. You know what I'm talking about, Chris?
Yeah. That was early 2000s?
Yeah, and the animated feature they made based on the story is really good.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a gap in all comic book history. I have like early 90s when my father was buying stuff and when everything was on sale.
Right.
When I with $5 in my pocket as a teenager, what I could afford.
Sure.
And then a huge gap, like early 2000s. And then 2014 when I started working in a comic book shop.
Oh, sure.
So just like there's a decade of like.
So is that how it started then with your dad bringing comics home?
My dad read Spawn, yeah.
Your dad read Spawn, wow.
So I read Spawn.
Wow, and what did you think of Spawn at that age?
Yeah, right, that's the key there, right, at that age.
Barely being a Spawn yourself then, what did you think?
Well, that was kind of it, right? I was so small that I wasn't really reading. I just sort of like opened it, was like, whoa, there's somebody's guts all over the place, and that's about when Dad would like take it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what inspires you then to go from reading comics to working in a comic book store and eventually creating your own comics?
My first comic was when I was 6.
Wow, okay.
I remember it because I was in kindergarten, and my mom read me a lot of Baby Blues. Actually, this is what got me into it, because 1992, right, I'm born, nobody knew that Zoe was even a name. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Yeah. And no one knows that,
clock is older than this clock right
really?
Here.
I think you referenced a commercial earlier from 1991. I was
I'm pretty sure I did. Rob Liefeld's commercial in his jeans commercial, 501. We were talking about that. Mm-hmm. That's older than you are. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
So no one knew that Zoe was even a name other than like the little furry monster on Sesame Street. So my grandma goes, well, there's a comic character named Zoe, and that was in Baby Blues. So I'm like maybe 3 or 4 years old at this point, and my mom is like reading Baby Blues strips to me because I'm like, read me the one with the Zoe in it.
Oh, the comic strip in the paper.
Yeah. Originally it was the strips. That's what got me into it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And so from there you graduated to books. Going to the store. Do you remember the first store you went to? Was it here in Arizona or?
No, because I moved all over when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I don't remember the first store at all.
Oh, all right. Well, when did you settle here and start working in comic book shops?
I started working in a comic book shop under Pop Culture Paradise, I want to say like 2014.
Out in Tempe, it was near the ASU campus. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep, I worked in 3 different shops. I was in Pop Culture and then Critical Threat, and then now I'm at Ash Avenues on Sundays.
Oh, very cool. Great stores, great local stores. Yeah. I got to ask then, because I've never worked at a comic book store, and that's probably the only facet of comic book dumb I've never experienced, other than working on the set of a film or meeting anybody famous that's been affiliated with them, or creating a comic book that's popular. I guess basically I just enjoy reading comics.
I need to do that too still.
But you're in the comic book store. Weirdos have to be coming in and out all day long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We're all nerds. We're all kind of eccentric.
Yeah, but I mean, even by our standards, there had to have been an occasional weirdo that came in. Do you have any stories of a guy that came in and engaged you? Okay.
So, this one poor sap came in one day, and we had, I think he's maybe like a freshman in college at this point, and I'm
Sure.
like recently graduated, so I'm a bit older than him. And we sit there, we're talking, we're hitting it off. He's actually being real sweet. Yeah, like totally cordial, eye contact, everything, whole
wow.
9 yards. He's nailing it. And then he walks out the door, and before he walks out, he's like, yeah, I gotta go get a haircut because I have a wedding. So, but I think I look pretty good right now. What do you think? And like immediately my brain in like
awkward descent.
yeah, the 10 seconds that I have to think of a response, I'm going, okay, be nice, but not too nice, because you want you to think he's flirting. Okay, well, like suave. Well, no, but like clean or suave could be, it's a little bit too, hitting on him, right? It's like reciprocating the feelings. Okay, suave, clean, hygienic. And he kind of blinks at me. I'm like, I'd stand next to you at a wedding. and he proceeded to thank me and walk out the door very quickly.
In that story, you're the weirdo, but in this story, you're the weirdo.
Yeah.
He just said something I think a normal person would say. I thought he was going to walk out, have like a John Cusack moment in the parking lot, turn around determinedly, walk back in, make a big move on you.
There's been a number of those. They're not interesting.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
I was just really looking for a story to make myself feel better. You know what I mean? What are the dregs of these comic book shop
No,
patrons?
see, I figured if I told a story about myself, I couldn't get sued. So.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. Very good. Wow, she's smart.
Yeah.
How'd you start making comics? You're working at a comic book store. Was it prior to that, or?
Oh yeah. So like I said, first comic book strip, I was in kindergarten, and I drew a Baby Blue strip. And I came and I showed it to my mom, and it was about like Zoe not wanting to clean her room. My mom's like, "Is this about Zoe from Baby Blues or you?" And I'm like, "Wow, Mom, you saw through my subtext. You're so clever." So that was the first one, and then I've been making comics ever since. I mean, first published thing I was 10, and I went up to my school principal and was like, "Hey, the parent newsletter doesn't have a comic strip. You should have a comic strip."
Wow.
And yeah, my teacher indulged me.
And then they ran your strip in that newsletter.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So from there you became a self-publisher. Mm-hmm. What are some of the books that you've published, and where can people find them?
Biggest one is They Have Issues. That is a international Kickstarter about women working in comic book shops. Surprise, surprise. That one was cool because I'm actually a member of the Valkyries, which is women that work in comic book shops.
Okay.
And a bunch of us just happen to be cartoonists. So one day I'm like, hey, a bunch of us are all creators. Do we want to like do something about that? And like 50 comments later and like a bunch of likes later, I go, oh, okay, I guess I'm making a project and being in charge of all of you now. So that's how I fell into it. And then we did a project, we launched it on Kickstarter, and the networking power of, there were 18 people involved and then all of our friends. So actually we had, speaking of Wonder Woman, Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott got copies.
Wow.
Kieran Gillen, who does Darth Vader and almost my favorite series ever, Wicked and Divine, got a copy.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it took off.
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, Kickstarter's an interesting animal, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask friends for money, they'll be like, oh, I don't know. But if you post a project on Kickstarter, people will give you money out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What is it about that brand name Kickstarter that you think inspires people to give?
I think it's known and it's trusted.
Sure.
I mean, it's very much a mark of professionalism. I don't know if you've noticed in the comic book scene, but I've talked to a few people that have been like, oh, I'm like thinking about kickstarting a book, but I'm not really like ready to yet. It's very much your project has made it if it's funded on Kickstarter.
Sure.
And then by that token, there's people that really love, specifically indie creators, and they like feeding us. So Kickstarter will actually advertise on their homepage if your project's doing well, and people can just search, what comic anthologies are coming up today that are cool. Because we had not a huge number. We had about 229 supporters. I think maybe like 20-ish of those were people that I asked. I was like, I don't think these people are affiliated with anybody, and nobody
Sure.
that I talked to on my project recognized.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just came to us from Kickstarter somehow.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
You promote your books at Comic-Cons around the country. You just came from one, in fact.
Yeah.
ECCC.
Yes.
And that stands for Emerald City Comic-Con?
Yep, Emerald City Comic Con.
What's a Comic-Con experience like? Of course I know, but for people out there that don't know what it's
Oh,
like
okay.
to interact as a creator with fans at Comic Cons, how would you describe it?
Well, you just heard the cough, so I'm getting over the con plague right
The
now.
con plague?
Yeah,
Okay.
good old con plague.
Is that something ISIS is cooking up, or what's the con plague?
No, the nerds did it themselves. It's
Con
dangerous.
plague! Thank you.
That's probably where it came from.
Thank you. Our audience is split 50-50 if you're watching on YouTube. There are a lot of girls into it, a couple girls that are not so into it. That's very entertaining for me. You get this, and you got this. But it goes with my mom.
That's because this half is all the significant others of the creators. So
And they hear
you've
this
heard us do this
24/7.
before. Yeah.
But so you're at the con. People are coming up to your table. You have books out. You're trying to sell these books. What is that experience like compared to like a comic book shop? Working behind the counter at a comic shop.
It's actually funny. I sell more at the comic book shop than I do at the con.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, as an indie creator, everyone comes to a Comic-Con and they see fan art or they see a photo opportunity or whatever. There's a billion things to spend your money on,
Sure.
and most of them are not an independent comic book creator.
Right.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, sure. And you're going to pay for parking and lunch and the ticket to get in.
Oh, yeah, not
So
even
you're
thinking
already
about.
60, 70 bucks in when you walk into the
Right.
con. So.
Right, yeah, and so, how many times boothing have you heard, oh, this looks really cool, and if I have money on Sunday, I'll come back?
Sure,
And
sure.
sometimes they do, but,
Yeah.
some of them just break, they see a cool sword or something, and they break the bank, and there you go. Comic book shop, someone comes in, they have, they just said maybe like 50, 60 bucks is where you're starting out at Phoenix Con. They're coming in with maybe 50 bucks. They don't really know what they want yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's kind of when you get to like talk to them and see what they're into. And generally, if they like you, they'll like your book, is what I found.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to be a bit of a personality, a bit of a talent.
Yeah,
in your own
absolutely.
right, and then that gives merit to the work on the table, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Well, because people are coming again. They're coming here, and they know Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, right? They know what that is.
Sure.
But they don't know who you are. So
Right.
you have to be, hi, I'm
Do you
me.
think it's more challenging, or are there advantages to being a female creator at a Comic-Con?
I like to ignore those. Definitely.
Sure.
Definitely, you see, I'm dressed up a lot nicer right now than I ever am at a con. At a con, I'm all button-down suits and bow ties and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to let the work speak a little bit and not be identified as you being a female creator. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It's funny, for doing an anthology about female creators, a lot of the stories in there are really not about, it's not even about being a girl in a comic book shop. It's about fandom and how like a love of something can like tie people together. Two of the stories in there made me cry because they're about how comic books can change and impact people's lives. One of them in there is about like a really funny little like corgi story, and it's just super cute. I think I billed that one as Corgis Fighting Casual Sexism. It's amazing. That one's so fun.
That's a great elevator pitch, right?
Yeah, right? Mine's about meeting the ghost of Walt Kelly. And then
wow.
one of my girlfriends like kind of inspiring me to like continue on with my career.
That's
So,
cool. Well, and what
yeah.
you're saying, I think, ties into what Chris was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Superman not being in a rated R movie. These are characters and mythologies that transcend culture. These are worldwide phenomena at this point.
Right.
And they have the potential to bring people together more so than put them v each other, to use the language of the
Right,
movie.
hey, yeah.
You hear that? You hear that, Warner Brothers? Thank you. Let Warner Brothers know we should not be v-ing each other.
I like it. You sort of circle up in here.
Yeah, right? I
Yeah.
tried. I
see.
have no political influence whatsoever. So if people want to find your work, at Zuzu Cartoons is your website, is that right?
Yes, yeah, zuzucartoons.com.
ZU Cartoons. It'll appear in text here at the bottom of the screen.
Yay.
And very cool. And what's your next Comic-Con?
Next Comic-Con is going to be C2E2 in Chicago, and then after that, of course, beautiful Phoenix Con.
Of course.
I'll be
at
artist
the end of
alleying
May.
there. Yep.
And you wear suits at Phoenix too, because it gets so warm.
Yeah, well, the convention hall's cold. I grew up in it. I said I moved all around. I moved here when I was 7, so if it's not 80 degrees, I'm freezing.
Let's see if I can do a quick. It was so hot at Phoenix Comic Con. It was so hot at Phoenix Comic Con. It was so hot at Phoenix Comic Con that that guy everybody thought was cosplaying as the Human Torch just burst into flames naturally. That's how hot it was. Just pulling that out of my essence.
There we
If
go.
Johnny Carson and Stan Lee had a baby, I would want to watch that video. All right, well, thanks a lot for being a guest on the show. I really
thanks.
appreciate it. ZuzuCartoons.com is where you can find Zoe Sugg, everybody. Bye.